You're the person who constantly goes the extra mile for others, only to feel drained and disrespected in return. You stay late to help a colleague finish a project they had been procrastinating on. You lend money to that same friend who always seems to be in a self-inflicted crisis. You rearrange your entire weekend to help someone move, only to get a casual thanks as they leave you with the pizza boxes. You bite your tongue and silence your own needs just to keep the peace. You do these things because you have a good heart and you believe in kindness. You figure that, eventually, your generosity will be noticed, appreciated, and returned. But it rarely is it? Instead, you're left feeling invisible and used. Promotions go to others. Your friends only call when they need something. And your reward for being the nice one is an ever-growing pile of everyone else's problems. It's a painful place to be, and it can make you question everything. You start to wonder, is there something wrong with me? Or is the world just built to take advantage of good people? But what if the answer isn't to be nicer, but to be smarter? What if a 500-year-old secret from one of history's most feared thinkers holds the key to protecting your good nature? And what if the path to being truly respected isn't paved with unending generosity, but with a strategic understanding of human nature? This is the wisdom of Niccolo Machiavelli, and it's a truth that can either destroy you or set you free. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why overextending kindness can be your undoing. Why giving too much, too often, doesn't earn loyalty. It earns exploitation. And most importantly, how to convert your generosity from a weakness that others drain into a strategic force that commands respect. By the end, you won't just recognize the danger, you'll use it to your advantage, turning every act of goodwill into a calculated power move. Comment below with the phrase, "I see through the lie of endless giving." Let's begin. Before we get into the cold, hard truths of Machiavellian strategy, let's get honest about why we fall into this trap in the first place. What is this force that makes us say yes when every fiber of our being is screaming no? This isn't some character flaw. It's a survival strategy, and for many of us, it's one we learned a long time ago. Psychologists have a name for this ingrained behavior: the fawn response. Beyond the famous fight, flight, or freeze reactions to a threat, fawning is the instinct to appease a potential danger to avoid conflict. It's a strategy rooted in survival, where we try to make ourselves useful or agreeable to neutralize a threat. Often, the roots are in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where love and approval felt conditional. You learned that being agreeable and helpful got you praise, while expressing your own needs led to conflict or disappointment. So you learned to fawn. You were taught, one way or another, that your value was tied to how useful you were to others. Good kids don't cause trouble. They share their toys, they help without being asked. That childhood script is powerful. To be loved, I must be pleasing. To be safe, I must be agreeable. This gets reinforced by our culture. We praise self-sacrifice and politeness. But here's the distinction we often miss. There's a huge difference between genuine kindness and a compulsive need for approval. Genuine kindness comes from a place of choice and strength. People-pleasing, on the other hand, comes from a place of fear. It's a strategy to avoid rejection, sidestep conflict, and manage the anxiety of being disliked. The people-pleaser is always on high alert, scanning the room for disapproval. You become an expert on everyone else's feelings, but you lose touch with your own. Over time, you may even struggle to identify what you actually want or feel, a hallmark sign of the fawn response. This creates a deeply exhausting paradox. In your relentless quest for harmony, you end up creating the perfect conditions for your own misery and burnout. This slow erosion of self leads to chronic stress, anxiety, and resentment. Your nervous system is perpetually in a low-grade state of alert, which can lead to physical symptoms like fatigue, headaches, and a weakened immune system. And here's the cruelest part. The strategy backfires. Instead of earning you the respect you crave, it often breeds disrespect. When you have no boundaries, you teach people that you have no limits. When you give without ever asking for anything in return, you teach people that your resources are worthless. Let's be clear. Kindness and prosocial behavior are consistently linked to increased well-being, social connection, and even better health. The problem isn't kindness itself. The problem is that unconditional, boundary-less giving is often misinterpreted as weakness. It can signal to others that you are a resource to be consumed, not a person to be respected, and may even attract manipulative individuals who exploit your tendency to prioritize others. Think of it like this: water from a tap versus water in a desert. One is taken for granted, the other is priceless. By making your kindness as common as tap water, you strip it of its perceived value. This isn't about blaming yourself for a strategy you learned to feel safe. It's about recognizing that this strategy is no longer serving you. To fix this, you don't need to change your good heart. You need to arm it with wisdom. And that wisdom comes from a place you might least expect. The mind of a 16th century political philosopher who understood that to thrive, you have to see the world as it is, not as you wish it to be. To build this new framework, we must first confront another of Machiavelli's core concepts: virtù and fortuna. To him, fortuna was fortune or luck, the unpredictable, chaotic force in the world, which he famously compared to a raging river that could destroy everything in its path. Virtue, on the other hand, is not virtue in the moral sense, but rather human agency, skill, strength, and the strategic prowess to act upon the world. The people-pleaser lives life as a subject of fortuna, constantly hoping that the world and other people will be kind, but ultimately being swept away by their demands. The Machiavellian path is to cultivate virtue, to build the dams and channels necessary to control your own destiny. This brings us to a statement so chilling it has echoed through the centuries. It is much safer to be feared than loved. When Niccolò Machiavelli wrote this, he wasn't writing a manual for cartoon villains. He was a pragmatist offering a guide for survival. His advice wasn't about cruelty. It was about a cold, unflinching observation of human nature that holds the secret for anyone who feels trampled on for being too kind. Machiavelli's core argument is this: love is a bond of obligation that people, being self-interested, will break whenever it's to their advantage. Fear, however, is sustained by a dread of punishment which never fails. Let's translate this. The love he's talking about isn't true affection. It's the fickle, fair-weather loyalty people show when you're useful to them. It's the colleague who's your best friend when they need help with a report. This type of love is totally dependent on their feelings and circumstances. It is fortuna, outside of your control. When it's no longer convenient for them to love you, they will almost always choose themselves. Fear, on the other hand, isn't about making people terrified of you. In our world, fear means respect for consequences. It's the fear of losing your respect, the fear of losing access to your help, the fear of you saying no. It's the understanding that there are lines that cannot be crossed. This kind of fear is based on your actions and your standards. It is something you control. It is an expression of virtù. Think about a manager at work. The one who tries to be everyone's friend and avoids difficult conversations because they want to be loved often leads a chaotic, unproductive team. Now, consider the manager who is firm but fair. They communicate expectations clearly, and there are consequences for not meeting them. They may not be invited to every happy hour, but their team respects them and their deadlines are met. They are feared in the Machiavellian sense. Their standards are respected. Machiavelli added a crucial caveat. A leader must avoid being hated. Hatred arises from cruelty and injustice, and specifically from being predatory. He argued that a man would sooner forget the death of his father than the loss of his inheritance. In our terms, this means you must not mess with people's dignity, property, or core sense of self. The goal isn't to become a spiteful person. It's to establish a reputation for fairness and strength, where your kindness is a deliberate choice, not your default setting. The overly kind person operates almost exclusively in the realm of love, hoping Fortuna smiles on them. You give and give, hoping to build a bank of goodwill, but as Machiavelli saw, this bank is easily emptied. Because you've never shown the capacity for fear, the capacity to enforce a boundary. People have no reason to respect your limits. In their minds, they aren't evil, they're just playing by the rules you've set. And the rules you've set are: my time is unlimited, my energy is inexhaustible, and my needs don't exist. The revelation here isn't to abandon kindness. Machiavelli himself said a leader should appear merciful and humane, and should be so, but must be prepared to act otherwise when necessary. The real lesson is to integrate the strategic use of fear. Your yes has no power without the possibility of a no. This isn't about becoming a bad person. It's about developing the virtue to see and act on the dynamics of power and respect that govern human interactions. It's about learning to be good but not naive. The first principle of strategic kindness: once we accept Machiavelli's uncomfortable truth, we can start building a practical framework. The first step: stop viewing kindness as some infinite, magical virtue and start seeing it for what it is in the real world: a currency. This is the principle of the economy of goodwill. Like any currency, your kindness, time, and energy have value, and that value is determined by scarcity and strategic investment. If you stood on a corner handing out $100 bills, two things would happen. First, you'd go bankrupt. Second, people would stop seeing it as a gift and start seeing it as an expectation. They'd get angry when you ran out. This is exactly what happens when you overextend your kindness. You are devaluing your own currency. You feel emotionally bankrupt, while others see your generosity as a public utility they're entitled to. To fix this, you have to become a wise investor of your own goodwill. This is the essence of what some call strategic altruism. It's not about being selfish. It's about being effective. It's about making deliberate choices about where your resources go so they have the most impact. So, how do you do this? First, conduct an audit. For 1 week, keep a small journal. Every time you say yes to a request, write down who asked, what it was, and how it made you feel afterward: energized, neutral, or drained. This isn't about scorekeeping. It's about data collection. At the end of the week, look at the patterns. You'll likely find a few categories: black holes who take and take, leaving you exhausted; reciprocal relationships with a healthy give and take; and worthy causes you choose to help, which leave you feeling fulfilled, not drained. Your high-value investments should be reserved for the last two. The black holes require a new strategy: polite, firm boundaries. Second, learn the art of the differentiated response. Not every request deserves the same level of investment. Your default setting shouldn't be an automatic yes. It should be a thoughtful, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." That pause is everything. It moves you from a reactive, people-pleasing impulse to a strategic, self-respecting decision. For that colleague who's a known black hole, your response might be, "I can't dive into this today, but I can spare 5 minutes to point you in the right direction." You're not being unkind. You're being professional and protecting your time. You're offering a low-cost investment instead of a high-cost bailout. Third, understand that generosity is most powerful when it's surprising. When kindness is expected, it's invisible. When it's a deliberate choice, it's felt deeply. The favor you grant after you've already set some boundaries will be valued 100 times more than the automatic yes you used to give. This isn't about keeping a cold, calculating ledger of good deeds. It's the opposite. It's about valuing your own kindness so much that you refuse to waste it. By managing the economy of your goodwill, you protect your most valuable asset, your own well-being, so you can show up for the people and things that truly matter. The second principle, the necessity of calculated absence. If the first principle was about treating kindness like a currency, the second teaches us how to increase its value using a fundamental law of economics, supply and demand. This is the principle of calculated absence. When you are always present, always available, always ready to drop everything, your presence loses its value. You create an oversupply, and in any market, oversupply causes prices to collapse. In the social marketplace, your presence and attention are the goods. By being perpetually available, you signal that your time has no competing demands and is therefore cheap. The ability to be absent, to say no, to be unavailable, to have commitments to yourself, is not selfish. It's a critical tool for creating respect. Think of yourself as a valuable consultant. A consultant doesn't sit by the phone 24/7. They have appointments and their own projects. Their time is booked because it is valuable. You must start treating your own time with that same level of professional respect. Your most powerful tool here is the word no. For a people pleaser, no feels like an act of aggression. But a strategic no is not a rejection of the other person. It is an affirmation of yourself. It's a statement that you have plans, goals, and a right to your own time. And you need to stop apologizing for it. A simple, "I'm sorry, I can't take that on right now," is enough. You don't owe anyone a detailed excuse, which just opens the door for negotiation. The less you say, the more powerful your no becomes. Be prepared for some initial guilt. It's like a withdrawal symptom from an addiction to others' approval. Push through it. Calculated absence also applies to your digital life. Being always online and instantly responsive is another form of over-availability. You train people to expect immediate answers, which puts you in a perpetually reactive state. Practice asynchronous communication. You don't have to answer every email in 5 minutes. Let non-urgent calls go to voicemail. This isn't rude. It's conditioning people to understand you operate on your own schedule, not theirs. The psychological effect is profound. When you are less available, people start to value your time more. Your absence creates a void that highlights the value of your contribution when you are present. The colleague who always counted on you to fix their messes now has to learn to be more careful. The friend who only called for a ride now has to plan ahead. This applies to social and family life too. If you're the one who always organizes the gatherings and mediates the disputes, your efforts will eventually become invisible. By strategically stepping back, "I can't host this year, but I'd be happy to bring a dish," you do two things. You force others to step up, and you make them realize how much work you were doing all along. Your absence educates them about your value. This isn't about playing manipulative games. It's a conscious strategy for managing your life's resources and teaching others how to treat you. The fear is that if you become less available, you'll be forgotten. But the Machiavellian truth is that what is always there is easily ignored. What is scarce and must be earned is what's truly respected. Start small. Decline one minor request this week. Let one non-urgent text go unanswered for a few hours. Each time you do, you're casting a vote for your own self-worth. The final transformation. From people pleaser to respected ally. We've walked through the paradox of the people pleaser, confronted Machiavelli's wisdom, and laid out the principles of strategic kindness. Now, we arrive at the final transformation, shifting your identity from a people pleaser to a respected ally. This journey is what allows you to practice a more potent, sustainable, and genuine form of kindness, what you might call intelligent kindness. Intelligent kindness is generosity guided by wisdom and fortified by boundaries. The kindness of the fawning response is weak. It's easily exploited and burns out. Intelligent kindness is strong. It's a renewable resource because it's protected from exploitation. It is an act of virtù, not a hopeful plea to fortuna. It endures. The goal isn't to become a jerk. It's to become an ally. Think about the difference. A people pleaser is someone people use. An ally is someone people value. A people pleaser's help is expected. An ally's help is a game changer. An ally isn't a doormat. They're a pillar. People don't walk over them. They lean on them for real strength. Becoming a respected ally means your yes carries immense weight because it's a deliberate choice. It means your relationships become deeper and more authentic because they are built on mutual respect between two sovereign individuals, not a transaction between a giver and a taker. This journey isn't easy. It requires you to push back against years of conditioning. When you first start setting boundaries, some people, especially those who benefited most from your lack of them, will push back. They might call you selfish. They might try to guilt-trip you. See this for what it is, a test of your resolve. Those who truly value you as a person will adapt. Those who only valued you for your utility will fade away. This isn't a loss, it's a filtration. Your kindness is a gift, not an obligation. Your energy is a treasure, not public property. The Machiavellian secret was never about embracing darkness. It was about using an understanding of the world's shadows to protect your own light. By embracing these principles, you aren't extinguishing your kind nature. You're building a fortress around it so it can burn brighter and longer than ever before. The path from people pleaser to respected ally is a move from exhaustion to energy, from resentment to respect, and from being used to being valued. The principles are simple, but they require courage. So start today. Identify one area where you can apply strategic kindness. Say one small, polite no. Reclaim 1 hour of your time. It all begins with a single choice to treat your well-being as a priority. If this message hit home, subscribe for more insights into the psychology of power, respect, and self-mastery. And now I want to hear from you. Share your own experience in the comments. What's one situation where being too nice backfired on you? Sharing your story helps all of us realize we're not alone in this. Remember, the world doesn't need more depleted martyrs. It needs stronger, centered, and respected allies whose kindness has the power to make a real impact. Your journey to becoming one of them starts now.